Believe it or not, being a Real Housewife is a real job. These ladies all got booted from the Bravo franchise either for not bringing the drama or for bringing way too much of it for producers to handle. Get a girlfriend to hold your earrings, cause these ladies really know how to throw down. Brandi Glanville. In the summer of 2015, it was revealed that Brandi Glanville wouldn't be returning to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It wasn't clear at the time whether Glanville was fired or quit, but she set the record straight in January 2016 on Cocktails with Chloe, saying, "They didn't ask me back full-time. I was really counting on the paycheck as a single mom." After admitting on Kardashian's show that she told Andy Cohen to f*** off, not only on TV and via text and via email and via Twitter, she answered producers on whether she was just in it for the cash.
I signed up for money. They said to me, like, well, we think if you come back, you'll just be doing it for the money. I'm like, it's the only reason I ever did it is for the money.
Phaedra Parks. Of all the Real Housewives of Atlanta who should have known better, Phaedra Parks, an attorney, confessed to spreading a bogus rumor that fellow housewife Kandi Burruss and husband Todd planned on drugging and raping co-star Portia Williams. Parks said during the reunion show on May 7, 2017, "I repeated it because I heard it. Something was brought to me. I shouldn't have repeated it. I screwed up. I'm sorry." The following day, TMZ reported that Parks was fired from the show, with production sources saying she was out of line. An insider told Page Six they were so disgusted with her. The entire cast and Andy Cohen agreed Phaedra would not be coming back next season. She dug her own grave. She's considered a liability and will not be returning. Adrienne Maloof. Though Adrienne Maloof claimed to have left the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on her own accord, sources told Radar Online that she was fired after her feud with Brandi Glanville started costing producers money. A source said, Adrienne's lawyers came at Bravo with all guns blazing after Brandi began mentioning the surrogacy of her twin sons. She didn't want that aired on television. Producers of the show spent hours going over footage and editing it out. It cost a lot of money and took a lot of manpower to do. For Adrienne to then give an interview to a celebrity magazine about the surrogacy was a slap in the face to producers, to say the least. The source added that it was ultimately the reason why Adrienne was fired. Bravo had no legal obligation to edit out all the mentions of the surrogacy, but they wanted to do the right thing for Adrienne and her family, so they obliged. DeShawn Snow. Fired for being boring? DeShawn Snow was let go from the first season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta for being too human for a circus show. She later told Essence, "They didn't think that I would fit in, but I'm not the type to go television and start acting crazy because somebody's talking about me. I'm fine with the decision. It wasn't my decision. They let me go and there are no hard feelings. I am thankful for the opportunity."
And I've had a lot of drama in my life, but I'm thankful that the cameras weren't there.
Gretchen Rossi and Alexis Bellino. Friends Alexis Bellino and Gretchen Rossi were both given the Bravo boot from Real Housewives of Orange County at the same time because they weren't dishing the drama. An insider told E! News neither will be returning for season 9. The feeling is both of their journeys on the show have come to an end. Bravo is constantly looking at the casting and dynamics, and it felt like time for a change. A source told Us Weekly, Alexis and Gretchen were fired. They just had run their course. Gretchen has been on the show a long time, and it was the same old story.
See you later. Bye.
Claudia Jordan. Atlanta housewife Claudia Jordan was fired in summer 2015, with many believing that her beef with breakout star Nene Leakes was what did her contract in. Leakes, a Housewives fixture, told Extra before the news of the firing hit that she'd return to the show on one condition.
"I will return, however, if some of the other girls leave the show. I feel like we have a bunch of gold diggers on the show. So it'll be great if we found somebody that's looking for love."
Leakes wound up returning. Jordan didn't. Jill Zarin. In 2011, 4 Real Housewives of New York were fired. Jill Zarin, Cindy Barshop, Kelly Kaloran Bensimon, and Alex McCord. No concrete reason was given for the other firings, but a source told Us Weekly of Zarin the producers were sick of her being a diva. In 2014, Zarin explained to Oprah,
"One night, I think I took a sleeping pill, and I typed out an email to my producer."
In a moment she later regretted, the reality star remembered that she wrote,
and I said, "I'm leaving the show." and I want to, leave on a high. I'm in a good place right now.
Zarin didn't include any Bravo heads on the email, but the damage had already been done. Danielle Staub. After a whole lot of drama on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, Danielle Staub was fired from the series in 2010. The network never went into detail on the severance, but Staub insisted to Us Weekly that it was because she was getting her own spin-off show. She said, "I'm way too good for this. They have used me about as much as I can be used. I think it's time for me to move on and upward. A spin-off is absolutely, positively where I'm going." Aviva Drescher. Just acting? Aviva Drescher brought the drama to Real Housewives of New York, even hurling a fake leg at her castmates. But it wasn't enough to keep her on the Bravo payroll, and she was fired in 2014. She later told the New York Post, "For me, the whole thing was sort of an acting job. It was never a reality for me. So when I threw my leg, I was looking at it as entertainment. I just hope that in real life, nobody thinks that I really do that. I have 3 kids. Reality TV unsuccessfully imitating real life? All in a day's work for these housewives." Thanks for watching. Click the Nicki Swift icon to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Plus, check out all this cool stuff we know you'll love too.